I'm going to introduce our host, if you haven't met her already. Deborah's the office manager and her husband. And he is going to be filming the event. Now, does he go by Mr. Thomas Manager?
Oh, he's just minding her.
Just
Ron.
Sorry, I know how to. I say
Ron.
on your time. Mr. Ron.
Well, thank you. I did not take the Thomas name.
I didn't think so. Manager. I always pronounce it wrong, but I spell it correctly. And so, Miss Deborah has come to teach us about etiquette, and this is a time to feel comfortable, ask questions. No one is judging you. This is the time to make the mistakes, ask the questions, because we want you to feel really comfortable when you're sitting down with your mentor, when you're sitting at one of our events, when you're sitting with a potential donor, and eventually when you're sitting with a prospective employer, because after your first job and as you move up, a lot of these interviews are going to happen around lunch or dinner or food. A lot of things happen around that. So we want you to feel comfortable. So this is not the time to be nervous and all buttoned up. You're going to feel really relaxed by the end of it. I want everyone to take a quick look at the menu. Also, normally we say no cell phones at the table. You are more than welcome to take photos, to really, you're gonna see some pretty amazing and beautiful dishes. That is absolutely okay. And by Friday, we're gonna actually ask each of you to make a video for HCF about something that you've learned. What was one aha? What was one thing that you are gonna go home and tell your little sibling, your family member, hey, I learned, this is how, this is buttering bread like a caveman, the correct way, and you're gonna see that actually in just a few moments. Chris is we also want to touch on just a couple of things. Friday, we're gonna go over the orientation, but we've got a couple more things. The boys are gonna be picking up their suits, so we wanted to touch on some of our required best practices for HCF.
All right, so we're going to go over a lot of this on Friday, like Melissa said, but some of the best practices, let's start with communication. So email communication with the office, professional, whoever it is, typically it's 24 hours to get back to someone with a text message or a phone call. Max. 48 hours with an email. Of course, if you can get to it sooner, that's more professional, that's more appreciated, but you do have up to those 48 hours to get back. We do rely on that with the office because we send out a lot of messages. We do need to hear back. So that is something that we really push with you guys. And once you enter your career, that is something that is really going to be pushed upon you. And that might even be, half a day with an email that you need to get back to with your boss. It really just depends on how that job is.
It is required. And so as you move to an executive level, if your boss emails you that morning and you don't get back to them for a few days, that is not going to fly. So we hold you to the highest expectations at HCF because our brand means a lot when you go out into the industry and into your future careers. So that's why we really press that on you, because your mentors expect it and we expect that. And if we're doing a project and I'm asking everybody for like the one word thing, I got somebody's one word yesterday. Well, I've already moved on from that. So now you've just cluttered my inbox. Let's be a little more professional.
Something else is your HCF hours. We require 60 hours per year from each of you. That comes back to the office. That is anytime you come in to help, coffee and conversations. If we do a student board outing, we go to a baseball game, or we take you out to dinners, anything like that, that all counts towards your hours. But those hours are very important because that's time you're spending with your classmates as well as board members. It's bonding, it's getting experiences that you need for the hospitality community. And that's very important. So it might sound like a lot, but 60 hours over a full course of a year, super easy to meet with all the get-togethers that we have together, that we throw out. Sorry?
Okay, we have some bread on the table. We have some sourdough and some cheddar cheese. Sourdough is right in front of you. And then we also have some sea salts that you can put in your breads and butter, which at the center of the sea salts right there is just regular molten sea salt. The darker one is the hickory, like a more flavorful, hickory. And then all the way to the right is called a Hawaiian red. You can add those salts to your steaks, to your meat, to vegetables, butter, just to enhance the flavor.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think we can all start by putting our napkins in our laps. Definitely, as soon as you sit down at the table and you prepare tea, we're going to start there. I know that's usually the first thing that you say. And one of the
We're
last,
supposed to be making our way around.
a few of the last things we want to remind you is that it is imperative that you're at an HCF event and you're representing HCF. Being respectful of time. So being early is on time, being on time is late, being late is unacceptable. And you need to remember to figure out things like, hey, I've never been there before. That's all part of the expectation. There's no excuses to be late when it comes, especially to the board members. Many of them are fitting you in a very short period of time. So it's really important that you show them that you're respecting the time that they're giving to you.
Make ample time for parking. Sometimes there's traffic. Sometimes with these casinos and hotels, it's a long walk. It can take 10 to 15 minutes to walk to where you need to go. So you need to factor that into the amount of time.
And we're gonna keep talking for just a few minutes. If that's okay, I'm gonna turn it over to you to just, do you wanna mention the bread or anything so they can start while we're chatting?
Oh, sure. As Melissa mentioned, please put your napkins in your lap. And when you unfold most napkins, they're going to always unfold to some form of a half. You can place the fold next to the body, which is my preference. Some people like to have the open end next to their body. Both ways are considered acceptable. Just find the way that works for you, but the napkin stays on the lap. Go ahead, and someone closest to the bread will be the person who starts to pass that around. And I'll be talking about the differences between host and guest etiquette a little bit later. But this is your bread and butter plate. It's always on your left. And when the butter is passed to you, take whatever amount of butter you think you are going to want or need for maybe more than one piece of bread. Because once you dip out of the community bowl, you don't go back for seconds.
So let's just, if you take a little bit, that is it. So you're gonna take what you want. That was a large amount that I took out. Well,
That would be what I would take.
All right, well, don't do what I'm doing, and you're gonna go and you're gonna put that onto the plate.
Yes. It does go directly onto the plate, and that way you
can use your
parse
hands
it out.
with the bread.
Yes.
So sometimes they'll give you a napkin, but otherwise it's okay. We eat bread with our hands. Don't worry about that.
Yes, and you can pull off a piece directly with your hands, or you could also take your napkin and put your hand on what you're not touching. So if I'm putting two pieces on my plate, you could do it that way. As an example. But you don't have to use the napkin. Just people now are so much more germ conscious than ever before thanks to COVID. So any little extra you do is definitely appreciated. And by the way, so that you can enjoy your bread, and I'm going to turn it back to Melissa and Chris, when you butter your bread, you tear off only a bite-sized piece. So if this were a roll, like a big dinner roll, you break it in half. This type of bread, you can just tear it off the edge, just a small piece. You butter one bite only, and this is all that you butter at a time, one bite. So as Melissa so well mentioned earlier, you don't want to come across as a caveman slathering all of the butter at once on the roll. All right, I'll turn it back over to you.
And then also, if the bread is next to you, offer it to people around you. So that if I see that Ken doesn't have bread, I'm going to make sure that I make sure that Ken's going to get the bread, or that Chris gets the bread. I'm not going to hog it in my corner. Going back to time with your mentors. So time with your mentors, they all are executives. They have very busy schedules. We understand and respect the fact that you have busy schedules, but it's really important to take the role of following up, reminding them, accommodating their schedules, leading that, because they don't know how busy you are, and so we want to make sure that that's as easy as possible. Anything you want to add on that? And always send a thank you note. If someone spends their time with you, and that is not their job, if someone gives you the gift of their time, you always follow up with a thank you note. At HCF, we love handwritten notes, but an email is equally as appropriate.
So as important as your mentor's time is, if it's difficult for you setting up any meetings with them, that is something that needs to be reported back to the office. Of course, there's leniency, but if it winds up being something that happens often and you're not making your meetings with your mentor, we will advocate for you and try to make that happen, or if we need to, maybe switch your mentor, but that is something that you need to be honest with us.
What is my brand going to be? as I move into my professional life. Your brand is going to establish you. It is going to follow you. Every client who I've just mentioned to you, and I mentioned to you who some of my preeminent clients are, I have never advertised. Every client that I have has been referred to me because I was memorable enough where Bellagio said to someone they know at Cosmopolitan, you have to hire. They opened. That's how they first became exposed to me. Your brand is critical. And guess what? Only you get to manage it. No one manages your brand. Melissa was talking about timeliness. I talk about that a lot because it is so critical. How about whining? Don't be a whiner. Do not be a whiner. We all know people who have negative things to say. Whether it's a good day, a bad day, always say it's a great day. I mean, it's a great day in your life. That is just something to take into consideration. Focus on the positives. So when people start down that rabbit hole of saying things that are negative, and this is a very small city, do not chime in and agree with them about anything or anyone in a negative way. It will come back to bite you. I can tell you. Would you like to add to that?
No, it's very true. And you see it time and time again, I think, in this industry. And
potatoes, shaved thin, deep fried, with the coconut cream on bottom. The top is cucumbers, avocados, tomatoes, with a little bit of lime, salt, and pepper, and balsamic vinaigrette garnish. Hope you enjoy.
thank you.
Thank you. Now, as you'll notice, some people are still being served. And that is an important thing to note. Let's just say that you are out with some people, again, and you want to make that very positive impression. This may look so yummy, I'm thinking, let me grab my fork, I'm ready to start. No, you look around the room, you pause, take a moment, you make sure every single person has been served before you ever dig in. And so now one more plate is going to be positioned, and so everyone will have been served. So then you can certainly start in and enjoy this particular item. And once again, it's always, we have one more person to be served. Sorry, Chris. Oh yes, and the husband. All right, and so now, yes, please take your pictures. These are items that are so Instagram perfect, right?
The worst part, though, this is me being negative, is that I find the best items in the world, but because they've created it just for this lunch, I never get to have them again. I literally just remember just dreaming over the one Impossible, this was before Impossible Meat came out. He made an Impossible steak, and it was the best thing I'd ever had, and I came back a week later, and I'm like, that's not on the menu.
And I came back for that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was literally the best meal I had ever had.
It's on Melissa's menu though.
Don't ever like something on the menu that Melissa likes because it gets discontinued.
It is literally one of my
Happens all the
core
time.
occurrences. Can you explain how to best eat this, or do you want me to?
And this is something where obviously the items on the top, you can start with those. If you want to take a bite of those are easy to pop off. Again, this is not a knife and fork item. This is going to be just, they've only supplied you with a fork. When you look at this silverware that is positioned to your left and your right, you work from the outside and work your way inward. Now, in some cases, there will be some courses where, I know today they will be bringing you a very specific steak knife that will go with. And so if everything was positioned on the table first, then you'd be able to kind of count it off and decide, okay, now I know that maybe this knife is designed for this. In some places, if you use the knife you have in front of you right now for a course, and then the next course is served, and it also requires a knife, you have to ask for it. In most restaurants now, they don't give you extras. They don't give you silverware per each course. Today, you're receiving what I would call a fine dining experience, where the way things are being served, the way things are presented, it's very upscale. You're not going to get this in most restaurants. That's very, very rare. You're going to have more of a casual dining experience. But even in McDonald's, you use a napkin, right? Even in McDonald's, you don't talk with food in your mouth. You don't have your mouth open while you're chewing, so people can see that. We know that how disgusting those things are. You don't lick your fingers, do you? Publicly? No, or at home. So there are certain things that actually, yes, restaurant dining can be formal, less formal, very casual, and just downright super casual. But good manners apply in every restaurant situation. So please don't think this has to be like today in order for you to pull out your best manners. If you're meeting someone in a food court, you want to use your etiquette if you're having a sub sandwich, if you're slurping a beverage. All of those things matter regardless, just different levels of formality.
May I just say one of the things that I learned from Deborah, besides not to eat like a cave woman, was that when you are at a lot of the HCF events and when you're showing your manners, it's showing others around them how to respect them. But when you're at HCF events, you're leading the way on how to eat something. So like we said now, okay, please eat. That's going to happen at a lot of HCF events. So it's up to you to start sharing the bread so that everyone knows that that's okay. Obviously, sometimes as a speaker, I'll mention, please feel free to eat during the course of the program as we want to move the program along. But that's up to you to get the bread and hand it to serve, to help facilitate the meal, because they're going to look to you as the representative, just like we would look to Deborah as the host on how to do things. Same thing is if you're with your board member and you don't know how to eat something, it's okay to ask. Mm-hmm. I've gotten things before where I'm like, I have no idea how to dig into this. So I would turn to Ken and be like, Ken, how would I eat this? Or Deborah, how would I eat this? And that's okay, but at HCF events, they're going to look to you, and eventually you're going to be not the freshman, but the sophomore, the junior, the senior, that their newer students are going to look to say, how the heck do I do this?
Absolutely. So just think you have somewhat of the response to something. If you have a question, it actually shows confidence to speak up and admit, I'm not familiar with that. Could you explain that? Or, oh my goodness, I've never had caviar before. I think I'm going to try that today. It is perfectly fine to admit what you don't know and that you have a question and you'd like some assistance. Now, the balsamic glaze on this particular beautiful plate, isn't that a lovely way of enjoying this entire item? What you would not do is go, oh, I love balsamic so much, I'm going to take a little dip of that. No, you do not do that. So no dipping of bread. So even if you have a steak that is served with all kinds of, maybe an au jus sauce, no, unless something is very specifically put with it, you don't dip up the soppy gravy that you'd like to.
I was actually at a meal with my kids and the plate looked like this, and I saw my son be down. I'm like, what's the matter? And he was like, I swear I taught you better than this. But yes, I think we're going to need them to take your class.
Well, our children, who are adults, they remind us all the time of how we torture them in public. Because I would always say, I may know people here.
Mm-hmm.
We're in public, and Chase Bank, which was originally headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, and so I had a lot of banking clients there. So I may know people. You make sure your bankers. You could use that on your children. People know me here.
Oh gosh, it was recently, which is the only reason I'm sharing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
It wasn't with that.
All right. Yes, although this is not a multicultural program today, if you have international etiquette dining questions, I'm happy to answer them. But the United States is one of the few, if the only country, that is acceptable to have hands below the table. And so now we're seeing more of the trend. People realize, really, our hands should not be below the table. If we're going to be these global citizens, we need to be aware of where our hands are. So keeping your hands above the table, you just keep them right there on the edge, in between courses, or when you're talking with people, hands really should not go below the table. And I know that is something that for a lot of people, the struggle, like, oh, I want to put my hands below the table, I want to put my elbows on the arms of the chair. So if you have a chair that happens to have arms, no, you don't look like you're in a business class or in a conference room setting. You don't put your arms on the table, on the arms of the chair either. You keep your hands together. And it's pretty simple, pretty easy to remember once you get used to doing it. If you do notice, oops, I dropped my napkin on the floor, it stays on the floor, as would a fork. And you just ask the server for another one. But don't kick it further under the table. I see people do that as well, as though they're trying to disguise it. No, you just ask for another one and they're happy to oblige you with that. So that's a little tip in regard to the hands. But also, I'm going to pick up my fork now. If I am having a conversation and I'm talking with Melissa, I should not hold my fork with food on and go, "You're right, Melissa. I agree with you." Because it looks like I'm about to harpoon her. And also, food is going to go flying. So it's best to actually put your silverware on your plate when you're talking. Don't hold it in your hands if it has food on it. Put it down. And that does bring me back to the small talk. You want to be able, in between your courses, to chat about things that people would find interesting and try to ask questions that are open-ended. If I said to Melissa, "Where are you going for vacation this summer? Where would you like to go? What are you up to?" Then she can say more about, "Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that." But if I said, "Are you going on vacation this summer?" She's going to answer either yes or no. That's it. Conversation's over. So ask questions to get them talking. Then you will feel less on the spot because they're going to be sharing more with you. So think about, before you go to any lunch or dinner or a meeting with a board member, ask yourself in your head in advance, what am I ready to talk about? And knowing very well that they may ask you sometimes some uncomfortable questions, but they want to see how you're going to answer those perhaps, because it gives them some insight into you. And if you don't have an answer, just candidly say, "I have not thought of that, but now that you've mentioned it, I am going to give that some serious thought because I'd like to do X, Y, and Z." Those are all things to be prepared for. Also, as part of small talk, before you even sit down, maybe you're at a mingling event, and I encourage you, join associations, be out there, be visible as part of your brand, volunteer. And when you go to events where you don't know people, you have to introduce yourself. People will ask you, now who are you again, and why are you here? Do you belong to this group? And how do you introduce yourself? So in addition to the handshake, which we'll get to later, what is a good self-introduction that you're currently providing? So if we're shaking hands and we're introducing ourselves to each other we've never met, if I ask you a question now, tell me what it is that you do. What is your, not 30-second, but 10-second self-introduction? So let's just right now, before the food comes out, let's have some fun and practice this. I will give you mine. So as we're shaking hands, envision me saying, after you ask me, "Deborah, what do you do?" "Oh, I teach soft skills to help build strong people because life is entirely too short to not know what to do." That's it. I haven't told you which soft skills I train, who my clients are, how long I've been doing it. I haven't told you anything. But now people are looking at me as though, "Oh, so what are soft skills? Who are some of your clients? How long have you been doing this?" So would you like to add to that?
No. Just agree.
Just agree? Okay. All right, so now turn to the person who's next to you, and each of you plan a quick 10-second self-introduction. Pretend you've never met before. Every opportunity that they are giving me. I mean, that's heartfelt. I recommend come up with your own. I've given you a little tip here or two, but you want it to be so sincere that when it comes out of your mouth, it's not orchestrated. It doesn't feel as though, well, that was scripted. Someone wrote that down for you. Because we don't like things that sound robotic.
Okay.
Even with all of AI, we love AI, it's here for a reason. We need it, we love it, we use it, but you still want to come across with the human touch that will always set you apart.
I just want to let you know I'm taking notes.
Oh, all right.
Messages on my phone. But that's one of those things I'd love to do to video. And I'd love to just get a little snippet of you giving your introductions. I'd love to see that. And I think you're going to introduce yourself hundreds of times over the next year. So that way you get really, really good at it.
So don't just have one, have 3 or 4, mix it up. And as you go along, you're going to craft more and you're going to choose the one to use when. So meeting different people for different reasons, you want to have those right there in your brain. By the way, your brain loves to develop habits. That's your brain's number one job. And the more you practice doing this, it will be a habit for you. You won't be sweating and nervous and, oh no, what do I say? It'll just flow out of your mouth. Such as my next statement to you is going to flow out of my mouth. Jackets for the men. Stay on. All the time. With the one exception. If the person who invited you to the lunch takes his off and he says, please, everyone take it off, then you kind of feel compelled because you don't want him feeling awkward that he's the only one who took his jacket off. But it has always been a staple for men. The jacket is part of the overall suit. You do not take it off. So it does stay on. And once again, with all of those things at the table, with handbags for women, they never go on the table. A lot of restaurants will have hooks under the table. Some restaurants even have those little handbag tables they bring you, the little tiny little tables you put your handbag on. Because I'm very well aware of the superstition, which is if you put your handbag on the floor, your money goes rolling out. I understand that, but sometimes it still is the proper thing to do. I promise you won't lose your money. All right, we're ready to hear about this delicious item.
All right, what I have for you next is Summer Sonata. It's spring mix greens with burrata, strawberries, charred pears, and walnuts, roasted walnuts. It's most of the thinking about summertime veggies that you get before you switch over to winter and fall. Okay, hope you enjoy.
Oh, charred peaches. I'm just going to have a couple of bites of this. How delicious is this? Charred peaches are perfect.
Okay.
One of my favorites. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Oh,
Literally the same the same time as you.
just do them on the grill.
Really?
Oh gosh, yeah.
My kids love peaches.
Oh, charred peach on the grill. It's a dessert, a healthy dessert.
This sounds amazing.
Like under the
Yeah.
oil.
With butter and cinnamon.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the fork that is on the table is the one you're going to use, and this is the salad fork. So this is what you're going to be enjoying with this particular dish. New things every year here, right?
Right?
Usually just a little bit of butter
Oh, okay.
or balsamic. And then my husband makes creme fraiche every week for me.
That's a great husband.
I know. So creme fraiche is just so great with it as well when you bring it in to eat it.
What is it?
Creme fraiche. In fact, it was on the.
I saw it, but I don't know what it
It's
was.
on the grilled hatchling.
Yes, on the very first thing. Yes.
French version of sour cream,
Oh, I didn't know that.
a little more nutty.
Thank you.
It's great if you want to just have that with berries. If you're, again, just thinking, how can I eat in a healthy way? So,
Is it?
skip the pound cake and have creme fraiche.
It sounds even better. Would someone be able to take a couple of clips so that we can put this into a nice reel to share? Maybe when the chef is talking, just so we can kind of put it in there, recognize what they're doing. Yes. Okay, perfect.
Questions? Now, obviously, this is a beautifully shaped bowl, so you're going to do the same thing. Just place your fork kind of at an angle, so they'll know when you're finished as well.
Does everyone know what burrata is?
Cheddar cheese.
Earlier, you were saying how if someone was talking negatively on someone to move on or not agree with them, how would you move on from a conversation that you don't want?
Well, thank you for asking that question. This is where to determine if you yourself are assertive enough to handle this. And I recommend that you definitely become assertive if it isn't something you've thought about before. Assertive is not aggressive. Assertive is doing the right thing. Assertive people are very direct communicators, but they are direct with kindness and thoughtfulness and courtesy. But they do speak up when they need to. So, to your question, this is a situation where, as an assertive person, you could say, oh, please, let's not talk about that. I just don't think that's necessary. Or, oh, goodness, he's not here to defend himself, so let's wait. Let's not talk about that now. Or, if I may, let's just avoid anything negative today. It's a beautiful day. Let's just focus on something positive. So to be assertive, you need to insert yourself into the dialogue and let them know you're not having this and you're not going to be a part of it. Because unfortunately, right now there is so much negativity. I know people say it's more now. It's always existed. But a lot of people now do it, I think, with fewer concerns that they're hurting someone's feelings. They just say whatever they want to say. Doesn't mean they should. And so this is where you have the opportunity to show, oh no, I'm not that kind of person. You are putting your brand on display when you say, no, not having it.
Thank you.
I promise you, you'll have many times to use that in your career future.
I had a question on how to eat the peach in the salad because I would really love to try it, but I'm having difficulty cutting it, and I don't know if it's proper to like pick up the whole thing.
Well, let's ask our servers or Ken. Was this knife designed to go with the salad? Okay, then this can be used. So because right now, I know the next course we're going to have is going to be the intermezzo, and so we don't need our silverware for that. And then the next course we'll have a steak knife. That does mean, in fact, that this knife can be used with the salad. And I'm glad you asked that, so go ahead and enjoy that peach.
Deborah, you've taught us before about the European way of eating and
Yes.
the American crossover and stuff like that. So
Yes, and I will show you now, and I'll also show you again when we have our steaks. Okay, for everyone who is left-handed, I'm doing this now for right-hand. Yes, for right-handed people. All right, so when you dine American zigzag, you only cut one bite or two at the most. Then you put your knife down on the top of the plate, or in this case, the bowl, and then you transfer your fork to the other hand. That's zigzag. And so I haven't used my knife, so I'm just going to put it down real quickly. Then, here we go. We have this in our right hand, unless we're left-handed. That's called American zigzag, but you have only cut one, no more than 2 bites. You never want to cut up your entire plate, because people are then thinking, are you 4 years old? No, you don't cut up your entire plate. If you are dining continental, you cut 1 bite only. Knife remains in your hand, so it's cut, pierce, eat. But the knife is still in your hand, so you don't put it down. But the benefit of the continental or European way of dining is you can push items onto the back of the fork with your knife. And then the fork goes into my mouth with the tines down. So it's cut, pierce, eat. But the fork is going in the downward fashion. And I promise you, anything from mashed potatoes to rice to peas, anything can go onto the back of the fork with ease. You will have no problems whatsoever. And obviously for those of us who are left-handed, the silverware will be in the opposite hands. And with the idea of pacing yourself, as I've already mentioned, you don't start to eat before everyone has been served. But also, as I'm watching my host today, Melissa, and we're out to lunch together, she invited me. I don't want to be dilly-dallying around where I have barely started and she's finished. But at the same point, I don't want to be scarfing my food so quickly that she's still trying to enjoy hers. But obviously, she'll look at my plate and Melissa's thinking, oh my gosh, Deborah's already finished. I have to hurry up. I have to finish this meal quickly because I don't want Deborah to have to wait. So pace yourself with your guest.
Can I just say something? When it comes to HCF, especially with your mentors, they want you to enjoy the meal. Now, if I'm going to eat with a donor, I don't go starving to that meal because I don't want to be scarfing things down. I want to be able to take my time, and I know that I am a scarfer. So I eat very quickly. So when I go to a meeting with a donor, the meal isn't the focus. It's the time with the donor. Whereas when you go with a board member, though it might seem like, yes, mentorship is the focus, they are there to enjoy that meal with you. So, you know, that it is a little bit of a different, usually if you go out with an executive, there it's more of the time with the executive, but know that all of your board members want you to enjoy the meal. And with HCF, you are never asked to pay for anything. So like Deborah said, always ask them for your recommendations, but they're taking you there for an experience. So remember that as well.
Yeah, so when the check does arrive on the table, the person who did the inviting is the one who's supposed to pay. And usually that's going to be pretty obvious, or a more senior person at that event would be paying. So don't go grabbing for it, and don't offer to pay the tip. Some people will do that. No, you don't do that. But also you can't say, thank you so much for today's meal. This was just lovely. I really appreciate the invitation. So all you have to say is a very lovely, heartfelt thank you. That's it. Now when you go out with friends, and the friend did the inviting, I still suggest you take money. Because we know sometimes you think someone's paying, right? Then you find out, no, they're not. And then you're on your own, or they're expecting you to pick up the whole tab. So always be prepared.
Now this is an odd shaped bowl, so I just want to bring up, where do you put your fork?
I actually have my knife very carefully balanced on top of the fork, because the two can't go together. What is happening now in restaurant situations like with the bowl we just experienced, you're going to find more and more unusually shaped dishes. And so you just have to be creative with where you put everything, because it can be a bit of a struggle.
Nice little balancing act. Well, and also, as you get careers in the industry, you might be serving. I know that you've got your first job in a food establishment, but it's also important to look for those cues for those that you're serving as well, and that they make it easy for you, because what you don't want is it to be balancing precariously on top, and then you as the server are trying to do that. So that's kind of why we work together with the servers. It's sort of a beautiful song and dance.
It is. And do you have to say thank you every time the server serves something or removes something? No, you don't. But an occasional thank you and eye contact, absolutely, to show your appreciation. I know one of my particular guidelines is someone invites me out for a lunch or dinner and they're trying to sell to me. Maybe they want me to buy their product. I notice how they treat the server. And if they treat the servers poorly, they are not getting my business. Absolutely not. Every person in every profession deserves equal respect and regard, hands down. And so how you treat the server, making that eye contact, showing the appreciation, is going to be noticed. You don't discount people ever.
Well, and think about when you've had a great experience at a restaurant or a very poor experience at the restaurant. A lot of times it's actually the service, if their linens weren't clean. So you take it, you sort of disregard things that were actually really, really important until they're not very good. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this was just not, the service there was so slow, or this was going on. And of course everybody talk about that. But then when you have great service, you notice that a lot. So we want you to be on the other side as well.
Yes. And to be appreciative of what could be going on in the kitchen. Server has no control over that. When the kitchen goes down, when there are problems, and sometimes the servers will try to explain, and some people are okay with it, and some people just are so difficult. And I remember my first job at 16 as a server, starting to earn some college money. I remember that, and 16 was a long time ago for me. I still remember to this day what I learned and also how I was treated. It's just, you don't forget it. I think everyone should actually experience being in that profession, even if it's briefly, so that you get the entire picture. Because a lot of people don't understand behind the scenes what can happen.
And you're right, they do yell and scream out here. I mean, these servers get abused. I mean, most people are good, but when they're bad, they're bad. I mean, I read my shift notes every night. It's like, so we do get a lot of bad people. So, like Deborah was saying, treat them with respect, because we're all, you know, we're here just to enjoy, and they're here to serve us.
We're all in this together.
Yep, that's pretty much it, because they do abuse our servers. So.
It's just wild and so sad.
Yes.
This goes for either of you, any one of you. Have you ever encountered a potential client that has just been extremely rude and you've had difficulty dealing with it professionally? How would you handle that?
Ken is probably the best one to answer that.
Customer-wise, yes. Professionally, everybody's been good. I mean, I have open door, so people come in. They don't have to make reservations to come see me and all that. So I really hadn't had that many issues professionally. But like I said, with customers, yeah, the servers.
With me, and Deborah's really great at saying how you can advocate the situation, but a lot of times if I am with a donor or a board member, I am not as good as I could be to advocate or speak up about that. And so I just try to do my part with killing them with kindness, or I might even, and I don't know how you feel about this, appreciate and thank the server personally on this side. But I don't always feel like it's my place to speak up and sort of say my feelings, because I'm representing the entire board, so I do have to be careful of some things. But I say my piece. I say it very eloquently. I'll say in front of them, "Oh, to the server, thank you so much. I see it's, I'm sure it's very stressful back there. It must be such a busy day. You're doing a really great job." So I can only control myself. I can't control other people.
Right. And that is something that you should needlepoint and hang on a wall. What Melissa just said. The only behavior you can't control is yours. You cannot control anyone else's behavior. What you can't control is your response to ugly behavior. And there is plenty of it, unfortunately. But I do like the cliche, kill them with kindness before they bury you with a shovel.
I like that
I've
one.
never heard that.
And it typically will work. And in general, just being very kind and just staying calm. You're letting people know, no, you're not going to dictate bad behavior, and I'm going to keep my bar raised right here, nice and high. I'm not coming down to bad behavior just because yours is. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And I'm smiling in my head, and I'm just thinking, I play a little game in my head. I'm going to win. You're not going to get to me. It is not happening. You don't deserve one moment of taking happiness from me because you're being somewhat of a negative person or speaking in a way that's just not appropriate. But I do find that and I'm hearing this here a lot, whether it's front desk, whether it's servers in restaurants, there are a lot of front line people who are taking more abuse than ever.
And I think it's okay to speak up. And I always say I praise in public and I critique in private. So if I have something to say that is a praise, I say it very publicly. I let them know. I might ask to speak to the chef and tell them a great job. If it's not, that was super busy. But if there is something I have to say, if there's a hair in my food, I don't say it to the entire table. I'll call up the server and say, I just wanted to let you know this is what's going on. Or, you know what, we've been here for 2.5 hours. Whatever it might be, I'm starving. We need to do this forward. Of course, I'll say it a little nicer than that. But I'm not going to say that so that the entire restaurant or the table can hear.
And what Melissa said about praising in public and disciplining or whatever, criticizing in private, goes for your professional life. When you become supervisors, managers, directors, same philosophy should go through the rest of your career, is to praise in public, pull somebody off to the side and correct whatever bad behavior there may be. So it's really important to always praise in public and discipline in the back.
Yes. Don't be known as someone who gleefully throws anyone under the bus. In other words, help people save face. You will be remembered for that you cared enough to help someone save face in an uncomfortable, awkward situation or where they made a mistake. So that will go a very, very long way. And yes, there will be those moments where someone will give you feedback one-on-one, where no one else gets to hear it. Don't take it personally, take it professionally. That someone has just told you something that could save your career down the road. So always think, they said this to me, I needed to hear it, thank you. I might not have wanted to hear it, but I needed to hear it. All right, so as we are sitting here and enjoying this lovely time together, and you have practiced your 10 seconds, you're going to think about developing more of those quick little introductions. Think about your small talk. That's another little homework assignment I'm going to give you. Melissa did mention dress, and I recommend try to dress in a way when you think if someone were to see me, how would they then immediately think of my position? Would they think that I know what I'm doing? Or does the way that I'm dressed maybe make them think, where is this person working and how much could they possibly know? And do they not have a mirror? So you definitely want to think of having the look that says, I know what I'm doing. I have confidence. And you just walk in tall and proud, and I don't want you to think of it as, well, but doesn't that require money to dress a certain way? Actually, it requires making the decision, okay, I think I'm going to purchase a navy suit, a black suit. I'm going to be purchasing a dress that has that look of authority. Think of it as price point in your budget. And then you go to the stores that have the sales, or the discounted stores, or the thrift shops. I know some of the things I've given away over the years where it doesn't serve purpose any longer, and I think, oh, someone's going to really benefit from this. And I know a lot of men have even purchased suits with great success at thrift stores. As people have gained weight perhaps or lost weight, people often give away really, really good things. So think of all of your options so that when you walk in, you can sit down with anyone at the table regardless of their position and feel as though I look equal to you as far as a professional. And when I'm training at all of these properties, I find this humorous, but I ask all the properties, share your dress code with me if I'm teaching a program for them on branding. And they'll give me their dress code and I'll say, all right, you have it in writing, but do you have people walking it? Do you have people wearing it? Because it's not what I perhaps have seen. So then it goes to leadership. So when in doubt, look to the leaders you admire the most. So when you're in positions where you think, ooh, that's how I'd like to dress. That's how I'd like to be perceived. I'd like to talk the way they're speaking. I like how they said that. They carry themselves with body language that says, I belong. I absolutely am worthy of being here. Try to embrace what you're seeing that you most admire. My husband and I want to share something. We did something fun last night. We went through the major networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, because they're playing now anchor monopoly. They keep shifting the board as to who's going to be their lead. So I'm not thinking of the cable channels, major, and of course they've gotten rid of all the women, which I personally have a big issue with. But again, the men, you can see, we're trying to emulate one person or another person on another network by how they sit, by how they hold their body, by how they tilt their heads. And they're trying to come up with something that's artificial rather than naturally being themselves. And I was saying to my husband, they haven't decided who they're going to emulate yet because they're all making the same mistakes and they don't have the look that people who want to watch the news and hear news from an authority person, they're not conveying that authority. They're perhaps trying to be even too cute, too clever, and it's not working.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so what I have for you now is the sorbet portions. Not necessarily a sorbet, it's an apple foam. A cinnamon apple foam with a candy pear and a mint garnish. Alright. Just a little cleanser before we come to the next course.
May I ask how we eat the pear?
Sort
of break it up?
I would rack it all together and take it as one bite, as best you can. It's a little on the chewy side, so
Okay, thank you.
So it could be a finger item too?
yes,
It's a little sticky.
Or is it sticky?
it's a little sticky. I
All right,
wouldn't
then,
necessarily put
okay.
your fingers on it.
Yeah, it's hard to break up really. So.
Okay.
So it's one big old thing.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks.
Just curious, is creme fraiche the French version of sour cream?
To an extent, it is modified. You do add heavy cream and lemon juice to it as well.
Oh, okay.
Which you do.
I just use buttermilk.
Oh,
So I must really be messing it up.
Could you also explain why in the middle of our meal we're having an ice cream? Which I
Ice cream?
with ice cream.
Well, this is a palate cleanser. This is to mainly cleanse out your palate before you have your entree and your main course, and it's just something to brighten up your little taste, so get you off of that salad or the entree, the appetizers that you had, break it up a little bit. Okay. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. And yes, in the more formal dining situations, there will be a palate cleanser, and often it is that little sorbet item that I'm sure you're familiar with, and there are specific palate cleansing flavors of sorbet. Raspberry is not one of them. Lemon would be one. Grapefruit would be one, for instance. And those are items that just get you ready all the previous flavors that you've enjoyed from the other courses, you want those gone because now it's going to be a new course where you really want to be ready to just have all of those flavors just hit your tongue and love every moment of it. Yes, please. Then yes, absolutely. Yes. And sometimes palate cleansers are served twice. Sometimes a palate cleanser can be served in between other courses as well. And then today you also had the beginning, you had an amuse bouche, and that I've already mentioned to you is to get those flavors ready to just explode in your mouth. When you are of age and when you have a specific event where they serve an aperitif. An aperitif is an alcoholic beverage served before you also start to eat. It's also designed to get those your palate cleansed and also to get your palate ready. So you'll have all of a sudden just that little sparkle on your tongue that you're going to tell, ooh, this is good. Now, a palate cleansing item is not the same as an aperitif, but they do serve somewhat the same purpose. The aperitif is a beverage, and normally it is a dry white wine. It could be a Campari, it could be a Dubonnet. It can be something, again, very, very light. But it's not, as I was saying when Selena and I were talking earlier, it's not going to be the Jack and Coke. That's not an aperitif, because the perception is if you have hard alcohol, hard liquor before you have a formal dinner, then you don't really intend to appreciate the dinner.
Well, and obviously now you're not 21, so you're not permitted to drink at any of the events. But I don't drink at donor events, at board events. But I will, and it's, when you do become 21, every decision you make is up to you. But I always just try the taste of it, so I can say, oh, that was lovely. Just a tiny bit. I don't really take much in my mouth, but that to me is showing them that I appreciate the meal, I appreciate the intention behind the meal. But that, because if I had everyone that was served at one of our meals, I would likely be not saying that again. I do not drink alcohol.
Just to clarify what Melissa said, because you're not 21, that also means even when you're 21 with HCF, you cannot try alcohol at any of the events.
Hello.
It's Mr. Terry Cottle. He owns Four Queens Binions and Magoo's Gaming Group and Chicago Brewing Company and a bunch of other stuff.
All of it.
Some other stuff, yeah. Welcome. I'm just here to say a few words, and trust me, it'll be a few. Let you get back to it. I assume you're all having the same wonderful menu that we're having over on the other side. Is it
Fantastic.
good?
Oh yeah.
Everything okay? Well, this is what you people are going to be creating one of these days, these kinds of menus, okay? If that's not fun enough, I mean, just come on over there and see how much fun we're having. So I understand you're all just beginning your culinary careers, right?
Just hospitality. Just everything.
Hospitality careers, yeah. Well, as far as it's a great field, and one of the things that I think people kind of wonder, what am I going to do with this? Well, first of all, people always have to eat and have places to eat, drink, and make merry. So there's always going to be demand. I think it's a situation where you can travel, you can go wherever you want, you find a place where you fit, and you find a family for you. We have a family here, okay? We have a wonderful family. I'll give you an example. We do, once a year at each of our properties, we do a longevity thing for anybody. We do a little celebration for anybody who's been here 5, 10, 15, up to 40 years, okay? This last meeting that we had, this last employee appreciation, we had 31 people that have been here 25 years or longer, up through and including 40 years. And here's the kicker. 17 of them, over half, were food and beverage. Okay, they're from the food and beverage department. So if you think there's not a career, no, there is a career. I mean, in fact, we can't get rid of these people. No, it can be a very rewarding career, fun, enjoyable, allow you to travel until you find your place. But hopefully you'll all find a home as good as this one. These people make my life wonderful. I mean, so as far as that goes, good luck to all of you. I'm sure you'll all do very, very well, but it's a very rewarding career that you're looking at. Okay?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
enjoy it.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
And was that few enough?
Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Cotto.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really, enjoy. Enjoy the rest of your meal.
Thanks, Terry.
Well, that was delicious, wasn't it? And so now I know we're going to be getting ready for the next course, but I'd like to open it up to just think of an everyday etiquette question you might have. Whether it's who goes on the elevator first? Who exits first? What about escalators? Who offers their hand in a handshake moment first? What do I do if I forget their name? So think about any type of situation you have perhaps already experienced yourself or you've witnessed someone else experiencing. What kind of an etiquette question could I answer for you that will make your everyday world easier and things just go in a more seamless manner for you and you're enjoying it?
I know it's different depending on where you're at. I know in other countries it's different, but how important is eye contact here in the US when you're talking to someone in a professional setting?
And you are correct, it is different globally. Yes, thank you. But from the standpoint of typical good eye contact right here in the United States with people in general, it is critical that you do maintain eye contact. And here is the guideline. The person who is doing the talking is the one who can break eye contact. The person who's doing the listening is not supposed to break eye contact unless you happen to be making notes. So you're supposed to show with your eye contact, I am totally focused on only you. I am respectfully listening to everything that you're saying. I'm very mindful of why I'm here talking with you. So the person listening, you keep the good eye contact, but here's the thing you want to remember with your good eye contact. Please blink. If you become so much of a staring moment with them, they're going to wonder, uh-oh, what's wrong? So you definitely need to blink. In fact, the average person blinks every 9 seconds. And that's a good thing. Now, you don't want to blink so much that people are going to find you batting your eyes and they think you're flirting with them. That's not what I'm recommending at all. But you do want to make sure you do have good eye contact. Thank you for asking that. And this also shows your confidence. It does show your confidence. So just put yourself right out there and just eyeball them.
Especially when you're shaking hands with somebody,
Yes.
you want to make direct eye contact, not look the other way, because that, you go, you know.
And I've had that happen
Oh,
to
me too, a lot. And it's like,
Yes.
really?
People look off to the side or they look down and I
Yes.
think, all right, what's up? Why you're not looking at me? So now, let's do this very carefully because this will require getting out of your chairs. But quickly stand up before they come back in with the food, shake hands with 1 or 2 people, and then sit back down. So just go ahead, stand up, shake hands, then sit back down. Hello, so good to see you again.
Perfect.
And we're making eye contact.
I love it. I think it's wonderful.
I'll do a handshake
All right,
too.
go ahead and sit back down. Let's
It's
talk about
important.
those handshakes.
Not too firm, not too.
All right, with your body language, with a good handshake, who offers it first? Actually, the person who should put their hand out first has nothing to do with age or gender or even title. It is going to be the person who's in charge of that moment. So the person maybe whose office I'm going to, the person who invited me to that meeting, it should be the person who's welcoming me. That person should be the first one to say, oh, Deborah, it is so good to see you again. This is a gender-free handshake, and it's a handshake of equality. When the hand goes this way, palm facing sideways. If the hand is downward, palm is downward, that's the handshake of dominance. So when someone gives you their hand with the palm coming to you like this, palm downward, just be aware that person might be a bit cantankerous, they might be a little difficult, they might be this with a very large ego, but don't try to adjust their handshake and don't say anything about it. But make up mental note, you now know a little bit about them. The handshake is firm, but not bone crushing. You don't want to see tears in anyone's eyes. So you do want a firm handshake. Again, as Ken was saying, so critical that you're looking at them eye to eye when you're shaking hands. So it's 1, 2, 3 firmly, then you put the hand down. So you don't hang on to the hand forever. Some people might want to get a little extra familiar with you by doing this. As they're shaking hands with you, they then plop their left hand on top of the hand. I never recommend that. I know some people do it just to be extra nice, or so they think they are being. They want to make sure you feel really, really welcomed, but it is definitely a signal that could be also a power play. Because sometimes the person who does the extra double handshake, they want you to know who's in charge. And sometimes when someone does that, it can also mean they're flirting with you. So just an FYI on that. Body language, by the way, does not lie. Body language is more honest than the spoken word. This is why, when I mentioned developing your brand, you want to walk with that confidence. Your head is held with confidence. Your head's held high. You want the eye contact. You want the squared shoulders. You want to walk. Not walk in a cocky way, but you want a little bit of a strut. You don't want to just walk through as though, oh, I can't wait for this day to be over. You don't want to be plodding along. Your feet need to sound as though you have purpose. And I listen for how people walk into a room. And I know who is delighted to be there compared to, okay, I was told to come to Deborah's workshop, so here I am. And they're just trotting in as though they have no choice in the matter. Your body language is screaming to others how you feel about yourself in that particular moment, and even how you feel about them. So think of eye contact, think of your smiles. You don't have to grin all the time, but try to make sure that your mouth is going up more than it's ever going down. Learn to smile with just your eyes. Tara Banks has, I think, trademarked it, her smizing, but she came up with that as a model, talking about smiling. That's what the models do as they're coming down that runway. They're having that look. I think some of them now are not smizing, and they should. But she was talking about, you want to look as though I've got the good eye contact, I'm smiling at you, but I'm not really smiling at you because the mouth isn't moving. So ask yourself, do you think you look approachable? Because approachability as part of your body language is key. So people can walk up to you and feel welcomed, and they don't feel as though you're unfriendly or you're being dismissive of them. All right? So questions you might have in regard to your overall body language and how you have a commanding presence. Do you think you have that, or is it something you need to work on? Please,
Okay,
this looks
right.
delicious.
All right. What I have for you is what I call the Yule offering. It's beef Wellington, but done just a little bit differently. So you start with a 5-ounce fillet coated in stone ground mustard, wrapped in a herbal duck shell, wrapped in prosciutto, puff pastry, crystal golden brown, parsnip puree, asparagus, and carrot with a demi-glaze underneath. You have a faux demi-glaze with impossible meat.
Oh my gosh.
Still done the same way, but it should be about right. Okay.
Where were you before here?
Before here, I was over at MGM Grand, Ellis Island, and New York, New York.
And where did you learn to cook? Where did you
I
start your
taught
career?
myself down in Florida, so I originally came from Florida.
And you
Yeah.
taught yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've had chefs in the past, but yes, I taught myself. For the most
Wow.
part.
Very impressive.
Thank
you so much.
Hope you enjoy.
Thank
Oh,
you, Chef
we
Ryan.
will. Thank you. This is
You've outdone yourself here, Ken.
this is fantastic.
And I'm assuming I'll never get this again, so I'm going to enjoy every moment.
You're getting that impossible burger, but in a beef Wellington
I miss
version.
I'm sorry.
Ken so much. I haven't eaten meat in 10 years, and this is one of those things that I've never been fortunate to get. I am looking forward to this. All right, so is everyone ready to
Everyone's ready
head
to
in? Do you feel
head
good
into
about
it.
it?
And this is going to be something I recommend you start at an end rather right in the middle. You know, try to make sure that things don't go splattering. For instance, and please go ahead, get started. I'm going to share a few more splatter items. Let's say you have a salad that it is served with little red cherry tomatoes, which I personally love. but they are challenging and you cannot cut them. Well, you can, but you shouldn't, because you're going to be wearing them, or someone seated across from you will be wearing it as well. So my recommendation is don't try to cut a cherry tomato, and when you cut into anything, pause for a brief moment to determine any splatter possibilities or having balanced weight so that things don't go scooting off the plate. Now with your silverware, I mentioned I would be going through the Continental again. So this is me as a left-handed person. I'm going to, again, put the knife in. The fork is holding it. Now, by the way, as I'm holding my silverware, do you see my elbows? And do you see how I have my arms positioned tight to the body? They're not flopping out to the side for leverage. That's why I was mentioning, thinking about the splatters. Your arms should be tight to the body, your elbows are in. And as you hold your fork, you do not hold it like this. So you do not look as though you're impaling your food or that your motor skills have yet to develop. So you do want to hold your fork, putting your finger at the base of the fork and then downward. So regardless if you're dining continental or zigzag. So if I'm zigzagging, then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my knife down, transfer my fork to my left hand, or for most of you, your right hand, pierce and eat. The continental way is the number one way people around the world eat, other than people who use chopsticks or people who use no silverware and who eat with their hands. So there are many cultural differences in utensils and how people dine. Some of the sessions I have taught for some of my clients who are going to be working with those in the Middle East, I'm teaching them how to sit on the floor and eat couscous with naan bread with their hands, but they're not going to be given any silverware, and they're only going to be using one hand only, which is the right hand, which for someone who is left-handed, you learn real fast. You don't use your left hand in certain cultures when you're dining or even passing an item to them. So it is important to grow, try different foods, but also try different cultural experiences so that you're familiar. So again, the continental way, as I am going to be eating my particular item, as you can see, well, you really can't see, but I'm able to use my knife pushing items onto the fork. So it just makes for a great little ease. And for those of us who are left-handed, we never have to worry about who is seated next to us, because usually the left-handed person is bumping elbows with someone else if we're dining in the continental style or the zigzag style. No questions?
I feel like someone needs to have a
Quiet.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, or everyone can ask one.
Go ahead, Maya.
I was wondering, before you mentioned about having tissues in your on you, what else should you always have on you?
I recommend pocketed items when possible. I know for women, this is more challenging, but if you're buying jackets, try to buy the ones that have the pockets. So in my left pocket is where I have my tissue. In my left pocket is also where I have Celine's business card she gave me.
Well done.
Because, and she presented it perfectly, because in my right pocket, I have my cards. So if I am presenting a card, I don't want to confuse your card with mine. And so it's nice to make sure you know what you have in each pocket. But as far as extra items like lipstick or anything else, or a mirror, no, you don't want your pockets bulging out of your clothing where it's obvious you're carrying things around. Now, I have not talked about how to present a business card, so I'm going to cover this for you quickly now while you're enjoying this delicious meal.
Does everyone have their HCF business cards? Everyone? Okay.
We're at the office to give them Friday if we don't have them.
I have two different ones. And the reason for that, I'm asked the question frequently, are paper business cards out of style? Should we just be holding our phones up and letting people take our information off our phones digitally? What should we do? Or should we get a digital card? I'm very happy to say that I have a digital card that also taps. Mine's a tapper. I love tappers. I love credit cards that tap. I just love the whole tapping thing. I see tap and tap, that's what I'm doing. Therefore, I am prepared for anyone and everyone. So if someone prefers that they want to receive an actual card from me, I have my card. Paper cards are never going to be out of style. I love them. I love how they feel, and yours are beautiful. The correct way to present it is, if I'm handing my card to you, and the way you do it in the hospitality industry, you do present it two-handed, which, by the way, is also a very global thing, specifically an Asian thing to do. You present it fingertips, both hands, and you present it with the typeface facing them so that when they take the card from you, it's already in a readable position. When they hand you their card, you take it from them with two hands and do 1, 2, 3 in your head. Thank you. You look at it. You don't just shove it into a pocket or put it away. Always, always do the 1, 2, 3 seconds where you look at it to show respect for their card. And then, yes, you will have people who may give you a digital card that you're going to have to pull out your phone to receive their information. But it's very popular, it's very easy, it's not a challenge, but you want to be ready. Questions on business cards? By the way, there is a different time to present them. Like right now we're at a meal. No paperwork will be presented during the meal. The business card would be at the close of the meal, and I would say, oh, Melissa, this has been so fabulous today. May I leave you with my card? So it's a permission thing. You would do the same thing at a cocktail party. May I, or at any kind of association meeting, may I give you my card? Oh, I'd love to give you my card. May I? Don't throw your cards around as though they're Frisbees and you're just hoping they stick. This is you on paper. You treat it with a little extra reverence and regard.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've always, when I've gotten business cards, well, first, I always try to do my best to know who's at the table. But if I get a business card of someone I don't know, I tend to leave it on the table so that I can, there's 3 different people, leave 3 on the table so I can see their names.
Yes.
Is that a faux pas? Is that something that you would do? How would you suggest?
Other than at a meal, yes. If you're in a business meeting, it is perfect to leave it on the table during the meeting. At a luncheon or anything that involves food, no, you put those away. But that's also the difference in the timing. At a meal, cards aren't presented until the end. Or at a cocktail party, they're presented at the end of the conversation before you walk over to talk to someone else. But in a business meeting, as soon as people shake hands and you have the introductions, you give the business card immediately before the meeting starts. Because people do forget names, and they do like what Melissa just said. They like to remember names, and you'll see people stacking cards on the table. Perfectly fine to do.
And it's always a really good idea to know who you're sitting down with. You're going to spend a lot of times at HCF events where you're sitting down with people. Our big one is Mentorship Matters. That's where we present the scholarships and the sponsorships and all of the recognition and mission sharing. Now with that, you and your mentor are going to get a table with 8 other people. I would never go to that and try to, at that moment, remember 8 names. I'm going to look up and connect with each of those people, but prior to that, so that when I get there, I'm very familiar and I can look and say, oh, Mr. Johnson, so nice to meet you, and have that there rather than, hi, I'm Melissa, who are you? And try to remember Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson, that time. So I'm going to do all that work beforehand, and I highly suggest you do the same. If you're going out with your mentor and they say, oh, I'm going to bring 3 people with me, oh, can you tell me who they are, their names? I'd like to know a little bit about them beforehand.
LinkedIn is a fabulous resource. By looking people up, a lot of people put their hobbies and different things on there and things that could be of interest that you could bring up in your small talk.
Does everyone here have a LinkedIn? Does anyone not? All right, it's very important that you have one with HCF. That's where you can do all of your professional networking connecting.
It has become a little salesy, but you can bypass that. You can circumvent that. I mean, LinkedIn used to be strictly about networking, but now a lot of people are selling on it. And I know that I'm hit up every day, a few times a day. But still, I use it before. Anytime I'm going to an event, I will look up people because I want to Melissa's point, I want to see their face again. Because that way I can pick them out of the crowd or immediately identify them when I see them, and it's very, very beneficial. And people will also help you. They'll recommend you. They'll say good things about you that other people will notice on LinkedIn as well. So definitely take advantage of having a profile there. And speaking of profiles, social media. You do know for a fact, I'm sure, but absolutely every organization, every company, every property here in town, they have their own security where they are checking out everyone from head to toe. They are vetting people before they hire them. They are constantly staying on top of what people are posting. So as they're looking at resumes and as they're getting to know who they want to be introduced to, they've checked you out. And they try to do as many hashtag combinations as possible to check people out. I mean, these people know what they're doing. So if you have anything on any of these sites that shouldn't be there, take it down now. And do not let friends tag you. Because you may have a friend who might tag you in an event that maybe you don't want a certain person to know you were there. I know someone recently who was tagged at an event where there was a lot of coke being done. And this person was head of a restaurant. And one of his own people outed him. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And it's like that, perception is everything. So you're going to be at events and you're going to maybe be at a friend's party, and it's perception. So if we see you with a red Solo cup in your hand, we're going to automatically assume that that is beer and not iced tea. So keep that in mind as well. Even when I am drinking something, if you don't know what it is, I put that down for every single photo. I don't sit there unless I'm at a wine event, will I hold a glass of wine.
This could be an entire glass of vodka. Seriously, that's how people are. I would like to highlight a point that Melissa made a while ago about not drinking at events. And because I'm often a keynote speaker where I'm giving a speech maybe at a dinner event or a luncheon, well, not a luncheon event where alcohol is, but definitely dinner alcohol is there. And I walk in and my host wants to be so gracious and they'll say, Deborah, can we get you a cocktail? And I say, oh, I'd love one a little bit later. Right now, if I could just have maybe sparkling water with a twist of lime, that is just perfect. I never get around to later, and frankly, they forget. Because I do not drink when I am with my clients. Except to Melissa's point, if something is right there on the table forced upon me, I might take a sip to say, oh, that's very nice. But I do not combine it. It's just how you separate yourself from that is critical.
Do you say later to be polite?
Yes, I
Okay.
say later to be polite. Or you could say, oh, perhaps later. You can use the word perhaps, but what I am concerned about, I don't want to ruin anyone's event where they're having maybe a special cocktail that they have put together for the event. I want them to feel, please enjoy yourselves. I don't want questions about why I'm not drinking to come up, because this goes back to also today's world we're in. You don't ask questions that are none of your business. I never ask someone, do you have children? Are you married? Are you going to have children? I don't ask questions such as, well, why aren't you drinking? Because there could be a variety of reasons. It's none of my business. And people ask questions that I think, oh my goodness, did you not learn that these are some of the basics? You do not do that. I always say, be the exceptional listener. People will tell you everything they want you to know about them if you are truly paying attention and listening. So be very careful that you don't find yourself ever asking any of those questions.
Obviously, with your mentors, open up to them. They will open up to you as well. You can ask some of those personal questions, but share before you ask is always what I say. So people know I set the tone by sharing about myself so that they're, and not oversharing of course, but so that they're comfortable with knowing that I'm going to talk about my kids, I'm going to talk about my family. This isn't just professional, this is creating a relationship. And so by myself talking, usually they offer it up. If not, I might ask a very open-ended question. So, tell me about you. Tell me about your family. Tell me, I won't say, tell me, do you have kids? How many? None? Why? Oh, smart. But that's how I go about it. So know that a lot of times it is very sensitive to people on where they get defensive. But by talking about yourself and asking more general open-ended questions, they're going to talk. But your mentors do want you to ask questions about them, and they're going to share with you.
Yes, and I like your philosophy of you choose what you share, and I also recommend you take that to heart. Anything and everything you share can and will be repeated. So if you put it out there to one person, assume other people are going to find that out about you as well, because people just talk and they share, and sometimes they don't realize, oh, I shared that with you. I didn't expect you to tell everyone else. So be very sensitive to that, because there is this lack of, I guess for lack of a better word, modesty in regard to people keeping things to themselves today. People tell things about themselves that later they regret sharing that. And often when people are nervous, they have a tendency to ramble, and then later they think, why did I go on and on? Why did I tell them all that? Because especially if it wasn't anything that had any relevance in that moment.
I'm queen of that. When I get nervous or I go off script, my goodness, I'm like, oh, Melissa, stop talking. Wait, why am I talking? I sit there and say that in my head because I can just go on, just like right now.
Well, 2 of my 3 children are not having children. And they're married, and they have decided in their own little world with their spouses, they're not having children. And I cannot tell you how many times they tell me that they, your generation, maybe older than you, but a young generation, they're asked those questions. And it's not always by just the grandmother. Because I've tried to tell my mother, you could not ask that question. Well, why aren't they having children? It is none of my business, Mom. Well, you should ask them. No, I'm not going to ask them. So, yes, right. Yes. Oh, it goes on and on. But this is where having what I call a verbal presence will also serve you well. Use those very carefully worded moments where you're very judicious with your word choices so you don't think later, oh, did I offend them? Did I use a cliche that was offensive to someone's race, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, etc.? Because people still say things that I think, oh my gosh, if you've been under a rock for 20 years, we don't say that. That is not what is said. So be very mindful. I know many people say we are hypersensitive right now. Whether we are or whether we're not is not the issue. I just want to make sure that I never offend someone. So if I think there's the slightest possibility, then I will certainly go the direction of being very, very careful, even more careful, so that I don't even offend for a slight moment. I have been asked by a few groups here in Las Vegas to no longer start my greeting to their employees with, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have been asked to not use gender references. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. I have to really carefully think because it's not my norm. But it is something that I want to be very sensitive to, and I want to show my sensitivity. I want to show that I care about everyone, and so I want to be someone who leads by example with that, and I'm fine. So when you think of your verbal choices, think not only of cliches, but think of jargon. You may know what your acronym or your jargon means, and someone else you're talking with will be totally clueless. So think of everything that comes out of your mouth as to, is this going to serve me well? Is this going to be a very good part of, in addition to my brand? All right, so we've talked body language. We have talked a little bit about your verbal style and what comes out of your mouth and how you say it and what you don't say. We certainly have gone through quite a bit on table manners. And isn't that nice, having a crumbing moment? Oh my gosh, you don't see crumbers very often. At the tables, that's always a nice little extra touch.
He had to do me.
Oh, yes. Did you have crumbs?
You told me
yes.
not to say it.
Well, since she brought up crumbing, I figured
That was my favorite thing. I was a terrible waitress, but crumbing was, my favorite thing. There's just something very relaxing
yes.
about getting
It's
off
so
the table. It was. I was a terrible waitress. The literal worst waitress. But I was so friendly that people were so kind to me. I would drop entire meals in people's laps and they'd be apologizing to me. That's why I had to get a college degree to go into a different field, because I was literally that poor. Brand. We're going to talk a lot about your brand because the HCF name associated to yours, we know that brand means a lot, and you represent that brand. I am that brand, Ken is that brand, Chris is that brand, and now you're that brand. We really take that seriously. So with Deborah talking about your brand, that's very important to us. So know that when Chris and I are giving you feedback, it's because we care about you and we want to see the best of you because we know how important that is. And don't take what we say as criticism or critique. It's because we see how important that is. Because when you apply for a job and people see that HCF logo, they know that we hold that brand very, very high, and you represent yourself, everyone at this table. You represent even Deborah, because Deborah, they know that we've worked with Deborah and that she's teaching your business etiquette skills. So when you come across there, if you're sitting there, tipping around in the bottom there, you're like, what did they teach them? So we're going to talk about that a lot, and know that every single thing we talk about and we tell you is not to criticize, is not because we don't understand, it's because we truly do care about you. I just wanted to put that.
Right, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because as I said to you earlier, don't take it personally, take it professionally. And that is going to always, always serve you well, because they're giving you that information for the right reasons that will help you. In one of my classes on emerging leaders, I have the people who are vying for promotions, I have them actually ask senior people, what do you wish you had known before now? What do you wish you had known early in your career that no one told you? And so this is another opportunity as you develop your brand, speak up. Let people know that you're this sponge. You want to grow, you want to learn, you want to benefit from them, their knowledge, their experience, their expertise. And it will again be another item that serves you well by including them in your career path, by asking those very, very vital questions.
May I ask a question? To Kevin and actually Salvador. Do you guys
Yes.
have a minute?
Yes.
So we have a group of emerging leaders. They might be on this side of the table or on the other side of the table. What is one thing as a guest or working that you think that they should know about the food and beverage industry, about dining? What is one thing that you wish most guests knew?
You know what the big thing right now is? Cell phone use. Like the younger generation, they're on their phone the whole time, and they'll be out on a date, and they're both partners are sitting on their phone the whole meal, and it's just obnoxious. I think, like, why do you even go out to dinner if you're there for the company, for the person that you're with? So I think that's the biggest pet peeve that I have right now.
That's a good one.
Is,
Yeah, I can.
You didn't know
Just
you were going to be
enjoy.
quizzed.
I didn't even think about that
Right.
for a moment. But yeah, just enjoy when you're out there dining and enjoy every moment of it.
And be mindful of the people. We'll have people that come in, and it's Vegas, and they're loud. They're here having a good time, but you have a table next to them that is having an intimate meal. Yet this table next to them, they're swearing. That's a big no-no.
Oh yeah. And as you
You
get
don't
older,
want to cuss.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Not too much alcohol. Enjoy your time, but not what we're doing for alcohol. Because that can be something.
Thank you both. I appreciate your insights.
Well, and all of these things are going to be items you get to practice and experience firsthand. And if you have a question, the workbook that you have provided has my contact information in it. So you can always email me. My phone number is there too, but I'm never there. So you can always leave a message, and yes, I very much subscribe to the always the same day within 24 hours on responding to your phone calls and your messages. We've become a society where 48 hours is tolerated on certain things like an email, but if you show that you're responding very quickly, it shows you're paying attention, that you're on top of it. Because I think another word that you're all familiar with, there is a lot of ghosting that goes on, where people don't respond to emails, they pretend they didn't see it, and if someone says to me, oh Deborah, I must have missed your email. No, you didn't. You didn't miss it. With all the technology today, you saw my text, you saw that email, of course you know that I communicated with you. So don't be known as one of those people who is avoidant. So respond very timely, very quickly. It's so hard for me to let this go. No, but I'm continuing to talk, so.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Box it up?
Okay.
We'll box it for you.
Which brings me to that point. You never take boxed food. Because he just said he would do that for me. Yes, that is just, I would feel absolutely horrible just to, throwing food away, doesn't that bother you? I know it bothers me, because we have so much waste in this country, so much waste. In fact, statistically, we have more waste in this country than the rest of the world combined, as far as throwing away food. So, but if you are with someone who's hosted you over a lunch or dinner, typically you do not ask for a carry bag, and you don't ask for a meal to go.
unless you're with your mentor, it's
Yes.
absolutely okay, or if it's offered to you.
Yes.
So a lot of times at HCF events, we have so much food that our board will actually say, here's a to-go box, take whatever you'd like.
Yes.
So know that they want you to take
Yes.
it, otherwise they wouldn't have provided that.
Right. At the interview, lunch or meal down the road for your futures, that would be a no. And so I'm glad that you mentioned the yes times right now. So you just have to have a good judgment call when you make those decisions on whether you take them or not.
Just say one thing.
Absolutely.
This is something we've approached at HCF events, is that, let's just say there's a plate of cookies and say, oh, does anyone want to take them home? Don't be the one that says, yes, I'll take the entire block. And I'll let you do that. So if it's being offered to everyone. And if you are thinking, let me take that entire plate, that's okay if everyone else says no. But don't be the one to say, oh, sounds great, that's for me. But
Yes.
I see that sometimes too.
There are people who, when they think the offer is being made, they think it's only to them. And that becomes very, very awkward and uncomfortable for everyone else who's lining up to get cookies. My recommendation for you to say, well, yes, I might take one or two, but be the last one who takes any of them. Let everyone else have theirs, but just show you have patience, you have self-regulation. You wait on that. When I mentioned the meal to go, I was not kidding. I have had employers tell me that when they've posted someone over an interview meal, the person has not only ordered the most expensive item, but they've also ordered an additional meal to go. Yes. And they have told me that they actually have had the person saying, well, you know that we're just young, starving students, we're getting our first jobs, you know we need an extra meal. No, do not do that. Do not do that. And by the way, that I heard that from 5 different companies within the span of 1 year. I actually talked to various people. I wanted to make sure they were telling me the truth because I could not believe it was happening that much. Yes.
What's the best way to excuse yourself to go to the bathroom?
Oh, thank you for asking that. All you have to say is, excuse me, and you put your napkin over the back of the chair. You say nothing else. We know where you're going.
Chris and I both,
me.
yeah, Chris and I both stood up. Did you guys realize that, like, oh, gotta run? And the only reason, normally I wouldn't, I want to bring this up and I'll have you
Yes.
not comment. I wasn't 100% sure if I had my phone on silent. So I went back and I grabbed it from the table. But normally I wouldn't have done that. I felt that was very awkward. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, could you imagine? It just started ringing.
Right, and Melissa also told me in advance that she's taking notes on her phone. So she has a reason to have her phone handy. But as Kevin was saying, the cell phone usage at tables, the servers notice this all the time. You do not want to have your phone on the table. It should be absolutely invisible. Having a phone on the table is equal to saying other things are going to be priorities too. It's not just you and this time I'm having with you. That also brings me to this, not mine, because I don't have one, but the Apple Watch. And Apple Watches are wonderful, and I may even give in and get one at some point. But what I'm noticing people are doing to me, and you probably have noticed it, but they're always looking because it flashes. As soon as an email or a text or anything comes in, it makes a little noise or it flashes, and people are looking. That immediately disrupts that moment of connection. And so this is going to be how self-regulated are you, or what features you use on the phone where you don't allow it to interrupt you in those very important moments.
Put it in Do Not Disturb.
There you go. Don't allow yourself to be distracted.
This would affect my
In cases where I have certain people, like my parents, who only call me like in emergencies, would it be okay to answer that one when having a conversation over dinner?
Absolutely. And you just, all you have to do when that comes in, just say, please excuse me.
And I have to say with my kids all the time, and besides the fact that it's not emergencies, but persistent. So there will be some times where I will just say, excuse me, I have my kid's school calling. Just, do I need to say that? No, but a lot of times if I'm getting up from the table and I already have that relationship, I'll let them know.
Yes.
But that's important, though. Like you said, excuse me, but get up and walk away from the table, not just have the conversation at the table and everybody's listening.
Right. And they hear everything.
They do.
They do. And I notice this because we're on airplanes every week as my husband and I travel for business, and it is amazing what people will say within earshot right there at the airport gate. And I think, I don't need to hear you trying to discipline your children at the airport, and they're at home, and they're not behaving. And people just share private and personal things, and then they're loud. And I just think, excuse yourself, to Ken's point, excuse yourself, or you don't have to say anything to a stranger, you just walk away. Walk away to another area so that people don't have to be a part of that. Yes.
Is there a proper and improper way of like cleaning glasses at the table?
Your eyeglasses?
Yes.
Typically, any grooming that you need to do, you excuse yourself and go to the washroom.
Okay.
It's like right now I'm wondering, do I need lipstick? Because I'm a lipstick person, and I will not reapply lipstick at the table because grooming is a no-no.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, honey. Oh, and look at this, please.
Right. Chef Ivan is helping me create all these today, so I would like you guys to give him a thank you as well. What we have right now is the caramel obsidian. It has sugar glass, chocolate ganache foam, Heath bar with caramel, whipped cream, and a chocolate tree.
Oh my. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Ivan?
Yes. I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to do this meal. Especially because they just get to be creative with this. And then making a meal for you is always
Special.
Trying to put something together that looks that's vegetarian, that looks like the meat.
And I second guess it all the time. I'm like, did they really? Or they just surprising me here.
Did you enjoy the Wellington?
I am disappointed that I will never get it again because it was definitely one of my top 5 meals I have ever had.
Yeah.
It was so
It's not on
delicious.
the menu, right?
That?
Nothing I ever get here as a gift.
She can give me ahead of time. You give me notice, then yeah, I can make it happen for
It
you.
was so delicious.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Fantastic.
Just so you guys, everybody knows that everybody here is doing it voluntarily for us.
Oh.
I mean, from Kevin to.
Restaurant is not open, as you can see.
Yeah. So it's all voluntary, just show you a good meal.
Well, they have more than succeeded. It's fantastic.
I have a question for you, Deborah.
Yes, please.
No, go ahead. Nope.
So as you see, pretty often people will share dessert at the table. Is that a no-no? Is there a proper way to do it?
It's fine to share a
Get a third
dessert.
plate?
I recommend that you actually say, as you're ordering the dessert, oh, and we will be sharing this. Could you please handle that for us in the kitchen? So if you're sharing a dessert among 3 people, they bring it out on 3 different plates.
Okay.
And generally they're very happy to do that. But as far as, sharing it out of the same bowl, no. Unless it's family. It's up to you as far as family, friends. I'm talking about those
Oh no, I'm just going to talk
professional
out.
moments.
My partner.
Ken and I always share a dessert. Well, I think it's customary to mention that sometimes when you have dessert, you celebrate birthdays.
Yes, we do.
I feel like there's a birthday at this table.
I think there might be.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Are we going to sing?
I think we should.
I think we should.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jerusalem. Happy birthday to you. I'm just gonna lower my voice so I can hear your tune.
Well, thank you. I don't do the high notes, just the right here, alto. What a way to end a perfect meal and such a perfect occasion. And I'm sure you've had a great time. And today I will be showing you at the conclusion how to give a toast. And I also have up here at the front for you. Celine already picked hers out, so she can show it. But these are rocks that say, "You are awesome." And so I'm very tactile, plus I love rocks. So I just thought just to pick that up every now and then and feel it. And just to remind yourself, yes, I am awesome. And I'm going to become even more awesome as each day goes by, because each day gives you an opportunity to continue to stretch yourself. I was going to put them at each place setting, but they're different colors, sizes, shapes, and so I'm going to let you pick out the one that speaks to you. But just to remember again, just how awesome you are, and that you get to share your awesome brand for many, 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 many years ahead of you. And just think of how many people you will get to impact as you lead the way.
What's the rest of your birthday look like?
for today I'm just having sort of a family day. I wasn't gonna ask for anything. I'm not the type to do that, but they squeezed it out of me. So we're just going to the mall and they want to give me like a diva day as my mom calls
Oh,
it.
that's so exciting. Have fun.
Thank you.
When Jerusalem mentioned it was her birthday today and she was doing things with family, one thing I said is this will be actually a fun way to celebrate hopefully your birthday with a really good lunch because they do a good job there.
Definitely. This was amazing.
Every bite of this is surprising.
Oh, the Heathen.
I'm not even a big Heath Bar fan, and they just go with the flavors so well. I can taste the crispy sugar glass. It's,
And this brings up diets. Don't talk about it if you're on one. So for instance, often at the end of a meal, and your host may do this a lot, they've invited you for whatever reason, they will bring up the question, would you like dessert? Because the server comes over and they do their job promoting the desserts they have on their menu. They may even share the menu with you. If you cannot eat dessert due to a diet, but everyone else wants a dessert, that becomes quite the conundrum, doesn't it? And so for me, if Melissa again is my guest today and I'm hosting her, they bring the menu over and I say, Melissa, are you going for some dessert today? Would
Yes.
you like some? Then even though I might be on a diet, I don't say to her, you order whatever you want. I'm just going to look at you.
that would be really, really exciting for me.
Yes. I'm just going to salivate while you have this delicious dessert. So in other words, Melissa orders her dessert, and then I order something I have to have in front of me, either lowest calorie, or maybe I just order a cappuccino, but I have to have something in front of me. It would be rude for me not to be enjoying something, my dessert, while she's enjoying hers. And frankly, as I say to people, if you're on a diet, no one cares. Don't ruin their time. And I'm interested in any final questions that may have come to mind, anything you would like to ask, whether it's on dress or body language. I will highlight on dress, the first two places people look to you to see how well groomed you are, feet and hands. They notice well-groomed hands, they notice well-groomed shoes. First two places people evaluate. People notice your body language though, before they notice your dress, which is why body language and you being very approachable and having that good eye contact and that smile, those things are being evaluated very, very quickly. Then they size you up from head to toe. And you're going to love this statistic. You are viewed 40% more often from a rear or a side profile than you are face to face. Which is why it's nice to know that how your look is all the way around.
That gym a little more.
That when I read that statistic years ago, I thought, oh my gosh, you ruined my life.
Just yell at her like I do.
How would you go about self-expression when it comes to jewelry without trying to overdo it but still being true to yourself?
Right. And I don't like to say that the world is Judge Judy, but we are. It is just how people are, and it's just so sad that people take such pains with that. My recommendation is definitely, if you're going for a classic, more tailored look, less is more. Myself, I love to stack bracelets, so I like to do that. But typically it's going to be no more than one or two things per wrist, no more than one, maybe two pairs of earrings. I know the multiple earrings are very, very popular. I know the stacking of necklaces is very popular as well, but again, is it too much? Usually it's no more than one or two. If they go well together, they look like it's kind of a set. And rings. I love rings myself. I don't always wear them, but again, it's less is better there too. One ring per hand.
You don't want someone to remember you for your jewelry. You want them to remember you for you. And
Yes.
so at HCF, we always say stay on the more conservative side because we have a nice range of board members and some are very conservative. So I want to make sure that even though I don't wear suits and you will all see me at the office, I call it my athleisure wear because I dress very casually. but I know when I'm with the board that that's, that a lot of them will come in a suit and tie. So I'm always going to present myself so that I will be comfortable with the most conservative person when it comes to jewelry and everything else.
Yes, and for the women in the room, it's a real simple question to ask yourself when you're wearing your outfit of the day. Do I look as powerful as the man? And you'll know you'll be standing next to a man or two or three. Do I look as powerful as him? It's a real simple question. Because men have so few choices, which is why they don't make as many fashion mistakes. They have only a suit, and their variety comes in the tie or in the shoe or the sock that goes with the shoe. And so men always have that tendency to go with either the full suit or a sport coat and dress trousers. So does my look say I am just as professional, just as competent, just as capable? Does that help? I know. Don't you just want to eat every bite? I'm looking at this thinking, oh, I want to just grab that piece of chocolate and just crunch on it.
Even when you're done, I know we all might be full. You don't push your food away from the table. You don't sit back, even though you might want to.
Yes, actually, and this is something that I do easily, but I've done it most of my life. My back never hits the back of the chair. My back never touches the back of the chair.
Straightening up real fast.
So, but it's something that comes very naturally to me because that's what I've done my whole life. But it's part of the whole posture of how you sit. And to Melissa's point, when you do have a tendency to do any slouching and the legs kick out in front of you, it changes the whole look.
These are pretty straight chairs. I like them.
Yeah, these are very, very nice chairs. They're super, super comfortable. So yes, and I love the fact that you said that. Do not go, okay, and also don't stack dishes. I know you're inclined to think, oh, let me help I'll put the bread and butter plate on top of my main plate, I'll do this, I'll help you. No, you're not helping. Servers have a plan on how they actually remove things, and if you start removing things in a way for them, you could actually make them unbalanced, where now things are not loaded the way it needs to be loaded for them.
My husband is so guilty of that. He just will take everything, stack it, push it away.
Please don't do that, right? I know you're being helpful, but
Who here hasn't asked a question? Floor is yours. Go for it.
So for women, obviously we have the tendency to use the restroom a bit more often than men. How long do you think would be a great amount, an appropriate amount for us to go after a shower?
how long you should be gone?
Yes.
Typically, it's going to be under 5 minutes, just a quick in and out. But no one's counting.
Okay.
No one's going to worry unless it's a half hour later and you still haven't returned, then they might be concerned. And there are people who have issues with their dietary structure of their bodies. And so there are people, whether it's celiac or whether it's other types of things, some people do have to leave and they're gone for more than a few minutes. Do not, if you ever have those issues, don't let yourself be concerned or bothered by it. No one really is going to call you out for that.
If I'm going to meet with a donor or board member, I will get there a few minutes early and use the restroom first. That way I don't have to, otherwise I worry about it. I know that that's in my personality to sit there and be like, oh, I've gone once already and I don't want to be gone too long, there might be a line. So I try to go beforehand, but it's not necessary. Okay. Who else hasn't asked a question?
I think to Melissa's point, to do a pit stop is great. Do a quick pit stop, but that even includes just checking your hands, checking your hair, any last minute checks.
Shakti.
I have a quick question. I always struggle with maintaining good posture. Do you have any tips maintaining good posture? I know it's very good to portray confidence. Do you have any tips on that?
Probably too many. Only because having gone through back surgery a little over a year ago, trying to get my posture back has been no small feat. It's quite challenging, but it is the how you actually push your chest more forward, your shoulders more downward, and you hold your elbows tighter to your body to kind of do that motion, and it will help. I know I am doing that all day long so that my muscles are reminded that we're going to stand up straight. But I'm glad you asked that because it does make a big, big difference. And if I'm not using my posture correctly and I'm having one of those moments, my husband's behind me, poking me in the back, reminding me that I have to work those muscles to regain my posture.
Thank you.
But keep your head held high too. Be looking up, not looking down.
And as we are going to validate parking, if everyone, do you want them to get or pass it over to you, Ken?
Sal's got them.
Okay, great. So just take them out if you need the parking validated. Who else hasn't asked a question? Is everyone? Oh, everyone? Anyone else have a final question? Go ahead.
So I notoriously drink a lot of water during like meals. Is that ever an issue?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. In fact, that's my go-to beverage always, and consuming that, and the servers are always so wonderful and refilling. So no, that is not a problem. Also, don't feel like you have to explain yourself to people. So let's just say, and his question was perfect on drinking a lot of water. So when they're coming back to fill up your glass for the number 5 time here, don't feel as though, or 8?
15.
Or 15, 5 or 15, somewhere in between. Don't feel that you have to apologize or explain anything to anyone. You don't have to say a thing. Because then it becomes, well, why are you drinking too much? Have you had your blood sugar checked? Might you be diabetic? I mean, it opens the door for people to ask questions that are none of their business.
I have one last
Yes, oh sure.
How do you make sure that everyone feels included?
Great question.
I think Melissa's done a fabulous job of that today. She's made sure that all of you, she'll call you out by name and she'll ask who has more questions, who hasn't asked a question yet. To be engaging, sometimes you have to use the person's name to actually say, and well, what do you think about that, Celine? And so by saying Celine's name, automatically I'm putting her on the spot, yes, but I'm asking her to be engaged. I want her to be engaged. I want her to know I value what she has to say.
Well, and think about it, if you are, thank you, at an event, and let's just say we're all sitting like this, if I decide to sit here and talk to Ken, now Deborah is not included. So as someone who is going to be respectful at everyone of an event, just because I'm respectful of people, but also when you're the host of the table, if Deborah doesn't know anyone, Deborah, what do you think about that? And I'm going to bring everyone in. And what I notice is that it's very important to notice who you're keeping out, but that you're bringing everyone in the conversation. And especially, and I think we're very good at this at HCF events, a lot of people, if they come alone, they now feel like it's a family. Because I'm going to say, Deborah, come sit with us. And I always make it so that we all feel involved. Ken, tell us something. Ask a question to someone else so that everyone understands that they are valued at the table. And that's really your job to, everyone, I felt like I was always a little intimidated, so I wanted people to talk to me, but most people feel that way. So I make sure to bring in everybody else because I value it when the person is comfortable, does that for me. So something to definitely practice. And when you're at Friday, when you're at the onboarding, to sit there and maybe, Shakti didn't come to the retreat, so she's new. Hey, Shakti, come sit with us. Talk to us about this. What do you think? So that it's not like she's feeling like because she missed an event, she doesn't fit into the circle.
Oh, to make people feel included is just so powerful. People remember how you made them feel and how you brought them into the conversation.
How do you guys enjoy it?
Oh,
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
So
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Have a pleasant night.
That was such
Thank
a
you
great
so much.
Thank you.
well, I'm going to close showing you how to give a toast, but also please come up and pick your rock that you would like to have to remind you how awesome you are. So, you will probably have people toasting you, and at some point you're going to want to toast others. You're going to want to have the occasion to say a few words. So when you toast someone, as I'm toasting you, you don't raise your glass. When you're the recipient of the toast, the glass stays on the table until the person saying their few words finishes. So I'm going to toast you, and it goes like this. I raise my glass eye level, my arm goes out partially when I say my few words, then I bring it in, and then I sip. You have to sip to seal the actual toast. So my toast to you this afternoon, first I would like to start by saying thank you to Ken, because what a marvelous job you always do. Thank you for inviting us and for the fantastic work that Christopher and Melissa do to ensuring that you get this opportunity every single year. And certainly you want to be very, very grateful for that. I know that your careers are just beginning. Your education is right there on the horizon. You've been given a wonderful opportunity that I know you are now going to even further put your stamp, your brand onto it, and I have no doubt the world will be better for you. Congratulations. Now I bring it in. The toast is sealed. Then some people insist on going clink, clink, clink around the room. It's not necessary, and sometimes it's not appreciated. So don't be the one who starts the clinking, but if someone clinks you, go ahead. You can join in. So again, any final words, Melissa, Christopher, Ken?
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's
My
definitely
pleasure.
something I remember time and time again, and I'm so grateful that you all could be here and experience it.
Well, thank you, and you just never know where I might see you.
So always sit up straight and mind your manners.
Please say hello if you do happen to see me at any place you might find yourselves. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if I can ever be of any further assistance to you. It'd be my pleasure. So again, remember, you're awesome. So we have all different sizes, shapes, colors. So please pick your awesome rock and continue rocking it. Do you like how I just did that little ad-lib there?
I love a good fun. All right, we're going to do a group photo as well, if that's okay. So, Deborah, where would you like us all? What would